also, get out your toys. We're going to start light, and we're going to start standing up. We're going to start with a good shoulder shrug. Up, back, and down. And then in addition to your weights, you might also consider having a nice, clear, wide open area. Plenty of room to step side to side, forward and backward. And then some sort of padding, because we will be going down to the floor eventually, and you might want some padding for your knees. And also maybe a yoga block or two. Yoga blocks can be substitutes for pillows. And they also help your form with yoga poses. So this is Yoga with Weights today, and my name is Brandy. Welcome. Let's get to it. So we're going to start with a good shoulder shrug. Up, back, and down. Bring those elbows in close to your body. Just simple little bicep curls. So elbows stay close to your body. Everything below the elbow is moving, but everything above the elbow is in place. So that's what it looks like from the side. To further complicate this, to get your brain working, we're going to take a little march. So one knee, then the other. Try lifting those knees up high. Just getting the blood flowing here, the circulation going. You're carrying too much weight here. You're lifting too much weight if you find that there's a lot of motion in the upper body. If you're swinging around like this, your weights are too heavy. And again, the intention here is just to get the blood circulating, just to start warming up. And we're going to continue taking your little walk all the way up to the very front edge of your mat. And then we're going to set those weights down on the ground. Hands come down to the floor, feet step back, hands about shoulder width apart. So that's what it looks like front on. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see. We're going to continue the marching, but here we are in our plank pose. Driving those knees up towards your chest. Starting to feel warm already. It doesn't take much to get you going, get the blood flow going. And then push those heels back and pike at the hips coming into your downward facing dog. Separate your feet as wide apart as the mat and walk your hands back towards your feet. You can bend your knees, roll all the way on up to standing, tuck your shirt in if necessary. We're going to come right back down. Knees stay bent, hands come to the floor. Walk out into your plank and then walk back. So continuing to warm up those shoulders. When you do this, think about giraffe and the way a shoulder, the shoulders of a giraffe, maybe it's their hips, I'm not sure, kind of roll as the giraffe walks. So giraffe walk, your hands, your shoulders, your arms forward and backward. So it's a bit of a shoulder shrug as you walk your hands forward and backwards. Next time you find your hands back towards your feet, you're going to bend your knees, walk out once again, and then pick a knee, drive a knee forward, grab it, move it all the way up towards the front edge of your mat. Find yourself in a basic lunge, pressing hard through the back heel. Easy peasy. From this lunge, you're going to step back into your downward facing dog. And we'll do the same on the other side. You're going to rise up onto tippy toes, pull your belly in, and take a giant step forward with your other foot. Grab it, move it forward, get it all the way up towards the front edge of your mat. Basic lunge. Now the trick to moving from your lunge to a down dog and from a down dog to a lunge is that same sort of action of rising up onto your tippy toes, driving your knee forward, activating your abs. It's pulling that knee high up into your body, driving that knee forward, activating your abs, coming up onto tippy toes. You're more likely to be able to get that foot all the way to the very front edge of your mat in one big step. And again, stepping back. Let's do that on the other side. Rise to tippy toes. Exhale, pull your tummy in, drive your knee in tight, close to your chest, and step forward. Big lunge. And stepping back. From here, walk your hands back to your feet again, that giraffe walk, shrugging those shoulders onto your back, finding yourself in a forward fold. Put a bend in your knees, hands transfer up onto your lap, and you get to come on up to standing. We're going to continue stretching out the backs of the legs and working a little bit. We're going to do what I call the kickstand, hamstring stretch. So unlocking your knees, take one leg, kick it out in front. The leg in front is straight, the leg behind is bent, and you just hinge over at the hips. And then come on up, shuffle switch. Kick the other leg out in front leg straight, back leg bent, hinging over at the hips. Feel that hamstring stretch. And come on up. Keep some tension in your belly to help support your back as you shuffle switch, hinge over. Come on up, shuffle switch, hinge over. And come on up. If you need more intensity, hinging over, you take your opposite diagonal arm across. And come on up. Opposite diagonal arm comes across. And come on up. And we could speed it up. Down and up. And down and up. And down and up. Again, modifications, you would leave your hands on your hips, maybe not go so far forward, go a little slower if you need to. But if you're challenging yourself, kick out, reach diagonal across, and come on up. Once more on each side, just to get you nice and even. Stretching out those hamstrings, working some back muscles, perhaps. Come on up to standing. Pick up your weights once again. Shoulder shrug up, back and down. I'm going to go sideways. You're probably better off facing the screen. Shoulders are up, back and down. Elbows pull back. They're close to your body. And what you're going to be doing is a tricep kickback. But first you hinge over. Bring one knee into your chest and balance. And then kick back. And bring those knee in. Bend your elbows again. And kick back. Knee in. Kick back. So working the triceps, the backs of your arms. I recommend light weights. Keeping the standing knee unlocked. Kicking a hole in the wall behind you. So your foot is flat. Leading the way with your heel to kick a hole in the wall behind you. Now you notice I'm not counting, but that feels about 8 or so on this side. And then you're just going to extend that leg out, kicking a hole in the wall behind you, and bring your arms to your sides for your airplane. And balance. Bending this front knee, standing knee, touch back. Celebrate by bringing your arms alongside your ears. So this is warrior one. This should be familiar. And breathe. Notice I've got a nice long stride between my feet. I'm going to turn and face the screen. I want you to see from this angle that I've got width between my feet as well. The front knee is bent, the back leg is straight. I'm going to bring those elbows in close to the body. Hinge forward, arms out, airplane wings again. Step forward, float that back foot up, going into that airplane pose again. And again, touch down. You can celebrate bringing those arms overhead. Breathe. Front knee is bent, back leg straight and strong, pressing that back heel straight back towards the wall behind you. You're kind of cheating yourself if you let that back heel fall in. So I encourage you to stretch the inner heel of the back foot straight back. Again, bring those arms in. Third and final time, lift up, airplane, balance and breathe. And touchdown. Now we're going to fly, flying lunges. So we're going to bend both knees and lift up. And bend both knees and lift up. This is easier if you have width between your feet, side to side and front to back. Notice I'm up on the ball of the back foot. My back heel is lifted away from the ground. Bend and lift. Does help if you continue to breathe. And again, I'm not counting. I'm just going until it feels like I've done 8 of these. And release. Oh, you get to step forward, maybe shake a leg or two, feel that butt cheek on fire. We're going to do the other side. And continue to breathe. So the butt cheek that's sore, that knee is the one that's going to be hugging into your chest. So you're going to stand on the other leg. Shoulders shrug up, back and down. Elbows stay close to your body. Elbows pull back. Hinging forward, bring a knee to your chest. Foot flex flat. Kick back. And bring it in. Kick back. Bring it in. So imagine there was a belt tying your elbows together behind your back. Elbows are very narrow. And they're pushing up towards the ceiling behind you. Kicking back. Again, you're kicking a hole in the wall. So heel is striking the wall behind you. Foot is flat. Just challenging your balance, challenging those triceps on the backs of your arms. Going for about 8 of those. And again, when you've had 8, hold. Turn this into those airplane arms to balance. Standing knee softens as you touch down. Bring your arms overhead to celebrate. Warrior 1 or crescent lunge, whatever you want to call it. Adjust your stance, maybe wiggle that front foot a little bit wider for better balance. Bring those elbows in, hinge over, get ready to fly. A breath here, or 2, touchdown. Celebrate, warrior 1, crescent lunge, whatever you want to call it. Again, elbows come in close, hinging over, taking flight, balancing, breathing. And again, touchdown, elbows in, celebrate. And do those flying lunges. So bring those arms down, out to your side. And come on down, bending both knees and lift up. Again, for better balance, make sure there's width side to side between your feet. Now back heel can be lifted away from the ground. I think of the carousel. They've got horses on the carousel and they slide up and down a pole. So you want to stay upright with this one. Imagine there's a pole through the middle of your spine. You're just sliding up and down. Flying lunges. Going for about 8 of these. Doing your best to keep breathing. And when you've done 8 of those, oh, good job. You get to step forward, take a shoulder shrug, and feel the other butt cheek burn. Oh, maybe shake it out a little bit. All right, you're going to step your feet nice and wide. I hope my head's not cut off. I can't see it. Feet nice and wide. Do make sure both feet are on the same surface. Turn all 10 toes to the right. I'm going to transfer both weights. I've got 3 plus 3 makes 6. If you have a 5-pounder, you can just switch to a 5-pounder, whatever grip your grip lets you hold on to. Do you want a little bit more weight than your 3 pounds? So 5, 6 pounds, whatever you got. Shoulders up, back and down. Elbow goes on your lap. So you got to bend your knee, make a lap. Now you're just going to start your lawnmower. Old-fashioned gas-powered lawnmower. You're going to reach down and pull up. Reach down and pull up. So both feet solid, flat on the floor. Easy balance. Start your lawnmower. Shave your side ribs along the way. Feel that shoulder blade pulling away from your spine and then kissing your spine. Shoulder blade divorce, shoulder blade making up. Okay. Going for about 8 of these. Once you get your motor running here, when you've got your engine started, we'll just do the lawnmower start on the other side. And one more time, I think that would make 8 or so. You get to come on up. Switch sides, all 10 toes to the left elbow on your lap, your shoulders stay away from your ears, solid flat feet on the ground, reach down and start your engines. Now, my husband is an electrician, so he's explained to me the difference between a motor and an engine many times. Engine is gas powered, motor's electrical. So get your engines running here. You're going for about 8 of these. And again, you're shaving your ribs, keeping everything in close to your body for this. And when you got your engine running, when you've done about 8 on that side, you get to come on up. Switch sides once again, all 10 toes over here to the right, shoulders up, back and down. You can take your arms out to your sides. Feel how heavy that weight is, yeah? And reach out and come on up. So we did a little bit to stretch out that hamstring already. Reaching out, you can really feel that hamstring and come back up. Stabilizing shoulder muscle here, using some abs, stretching this hamstring as you go. Make sure the knee is unlocked. Reaching out and come back up. Again, we're going for about 8 on this side. And then finally, you come on up because your arm is heavy. You're just going to put that weight on your hip and hinge on over. Now, it can be potentially dangerous for your shoulder if you were to take this arm straight out overhead with a heavier weight. So I don't want you to do that. But think about shrugging that top shoulder onto your back. And if it were to work for you to take the weight behind your back, feel that extra stretch. I've got the back of my hand passing behind the small of my back, and that extra weight is helping me pull that shoulder behind. You can turn and look over that top shoulder and enjoy that shoulder stretch. Knee is unlocked. Bottom hand resting on your shin or maybe on a block, whatever you need there. And the more you turn your head to look over the top shoulder, the more challenging this balance is. Now with that weight in the small of your back, think about pushing that weight down your tailbone, pull your tummy in, push that weight down your tailbone as you come on up. So tail is tucked under, belly is pulled in. And you get to switch sides. Turn all 10 toes to the other direction, shoulders up, back and down, arms out to your sides and reaching out and coming on up. Reaching out and coming back up. Going for 8 of these, working that deltoid on your shoulder there to stabilize. Breathing. The left knee, this knee is unlocked. And then when you've done 8, and I don't count very well, but when you've done 8 on this side, we're going to go into that sustained triangle pose. So we're going to come on up, put that weight on the hip, hinge on over, bottom hand finds a brick or your shin, knee stays unlocked. Back of your top hand goes around the small of your back. Pull your tummy in. Challenge yourself to look over the top shoulder, chin is slightly tucked. Breathing. Feel that top shoulder wrapping around your back. And you might even place that weight at your tailbone, the small of your back, lumbar sacrum region. Make sure that tail is tucked, your belly is pulled in as you come on up. And release. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to turn around. You're going to continue facing the same direction. And we're going to do the other side. And you get the rear view on this one. All 10 toes pointing to the right. Hopefully this isn't too confusing for you. The weight is now in your left hand. Inhale up. Reach on over. Challenge yourself to tip on over. Maybe look up at that top hand. Feel that weight transferring through your shoulders, letting you come a little deeper into this triangle pose, perhaps. Make sure you can see the weight with your bottom eye. Just because you can snap the arm off behind you doesn't mean that's healthy for your shoulders. You want to be able to see the top hand, the weight, with your bottom eye. You can bend that elbow. And same thing. Run that hand down the small of your back. And you can see this here. Help you tuck that tail in. Tucking that tail in, pull that belly in and come all the way on it. Let's switch sides. All 10 toes to the left. Arms out. Stretching over, tipping over into that triangle pose. Top arm directly overhead. You want to feel the weight transfer from the top hand through both shoulders down into the bottom hand. Straight line through the arms. Turn your head to look up, be able to see your top weight with your bottom eye. And breathing. Same thing, very carefully, taking that weight to the small of your back, tucking that tail under. Long lower back as you come on up, belly nice and strong. All right, I'm going to quickly turn around. You can bring that weight out in front of you. If you have a second one, I've got 2 5-pounders. You can go for a heavier weight here. All 10 toes turn out to the side. We're going to do our grand plie. Shoulders are up, back, and down. Nice heavy weight in your hands, and you just squat and lift. And squat and lift. Think about pulling up on that pelvic floor, like you're hitching up your britches, and then drop it like it's hot. Hitch up those britches and drop it like it's hot. So I'm on heavier weights now, and I'm back to those bicep curls that we started class with. Adding in the lunge, the squat, I should say. Knees are pointing in the same direction as your toes, and your toes are sticking out past your knees. You want to have a wide stride between your feet. You're staying upright. Same idea of that carousel horse. Spine is upright. And you're breathing. And then finally, we're going to come down nice and low. And maybe you can bring those weights out to your knees. Push those knees extra wide. Sit down a little bit lower. Knees out to the side. Oof. Nice and low. Set one weight down, set both weight down. Turn your toes in, heels out, forward fold. Nice deep forward fold. Come on up to your fingertips. Toes are in, heels are out. Come up onto your fingertips. Bring that right hand directly beneath your nose. Find your left, so that with your right arm. And with an inhale, sweep that right arm up and open, rotate. Same idea as before. Take that top hand around the small of your back and let that top shoulder wrap around a little bit more. Front ribs and belly are pulled in, tail is tucked. And then unwind. Let's switch sides. Right hand replaces left. Up, open, open. Switching sides here. Good rotation. Back of your hand around the small of your back. Belly pulled in, tail tucked. Top shoulder wraps around. And unwind. We get to come on down to the floor. Going to do your best side lying. Take a moment to arrange your stuff, have your toys nearby, your blocks and your pillows, all your fun stuff, and lie on your side. So your hips are already probably feeling a little bit warm. We're going to continue working those hips. We're going to work on some hip rotation that will help improve your squatting. So we're going to take the bottom leg, get it out of the way. I'm going to take that top leg forward and rest it on a block or two. Depending on how sturdy and stable your blocks are, you might need a second block if they're really cheap, foamy things. Do whatever you want to do with your head. Your head could be on a pillow, on your arm. I've got a mic I'm trying not to muffle, so I've got my head in the palm of my hand. Top leg here, foot flex flat, and you're going to drop down and lift up. Drop down and lift up. So you're working on those hip rotators here. And you're going to start to feel it in this hip. If you've never done this before, that might be quite impressive to you. Your challenge is to try to get your heel higher than your knee. Think about that, lifting your heel up higher than your knee. Again, you're going to feel that in the hip real fast. So lifting and lowering, we're going for about 8 of these, and then we're going to hold it up as high as it's going to go today. And breathe, and breathe, and breathe, and breathe, and breathe. Feeling that hip. And let that go. All right. Simple, effective, painful. Bring those knees in close to your chest. Imagine a line connecting head, shoulder, hip, and toes. Head, shoulder, hip, and toes, all on a line. So your knees are out in front of you a little bit. Toes together, big toes together. Still working this hip muscle. Activate, squeeze it. Squeeze that top butt cheek, keep squeezing it, keep it active, and then lift the knee. Keep squeezing, 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 and lower the knee. That's all there is to it. Keep squeezing the entire time. Lift the knee and lower. And lift the knee and lower. And keep working it. Squeezing this top butt cheek the entire time. Just lift and lower. Still working that hip rotator. Stabilizing those hips. Good stuff for your lower back and pelvis. And all you got to do is 8 on this side. These are called clams. So. And then on this 8th one, you're just going to hold and hold and hold. And you're squeezing that butt cheek tight the entire time. Tight, 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 tight. And then just like we began class, go ahead, hug that knee into your chest and cross it out in front of you. You can tenderize that side flank here. Arms can go out in front. Turn this into one of my favorite twists by taking that top arm across the sky, rolling open. And reset. Still on this same side. You're going to lift this top knee up and try putting the foot on the ground. Putting the foot on the ground, wedging that bottom knee in behind it. Push that top knee away. Again, I don't really care what you do with the upper body. And wiggle around. Wedging that bottom knee in against the bottom foot. Push the top knee away. This is your figure 4 stretch. Just turn on its side. And then you can roll over onto your back. Same thing, figure 4 stretch. Pushing that knee away. Wiggling around. Maybe easing everything in a little closer to your chest. Keep pushing that top knee away, even as you bring everything in closer to your chest. Basic figure 4 stretch. Thread the needle. Foot stays flex flat. And then you can rock and roll on over to the other side. Lying on your side, having your blocks handy. Again, you can use a pillow or your hand or whatever you need underneath your head. Bottom leg goes out straight. Top knee comes in close to your chest, and you set it up on top of blocks. And now you're just flexing the foot. Keep it flexed as you lift and lower. Working on that hip rotation. If today it's really challenging trying to get that heel higher than your knee, do know it gets better with time. Your flexibility, your range of motion will increase. Your hip strength will increase. But it doesn't happen in a day. Do a little bit every day, and you'll make improvement. All right, so you're going for about 8 of these, and about 8 or so in, you'll start to feel the burn. And then finally, you want to lift it up as high as it's going to go and just hold for a count of 8. Starting to feel it. And breathe and breathe. So this spot that you're feeling right now is the one that you're targeting when you're working the clams. That's the muscle that you want to squeeze. And let that go. Okay. Warmed it up a little bit. You're going to bring those knees in close to your chest. You're going to line up shoulder, hip, and toes all on the same imaginary line. Shoulder, hip, and toes all on the same imaginary line. That means your knees are out in front of you. I don't care what you do with your head. Activate the hip, activate the butt muscle, squeeze it nice and tight, and then lift and lower. And you're not going to get very far. Lift and lower. You want that top hip pushing forward the entire time. So if you had a hip pocket, you can think about putting your hand in the pocket to push the hip forward. Or hand on the butt cheek here to make sure it's squeezing. Lift and lower. And about 8 or so in is when you start to feel it again. And then on that 8th one, you're just going to hold and hold and hold and hold. And breathe. Again, that top hip is forward, squeezing it the entire time. Holding, holding, holding. Lots of variation on clams out there. And let that go. All right, you're going to bring that knee into your chest, like we've been doing all along, knee to chest, and put that leg out in front of you. So you're staggered, one leg in front of the other. Arms stack, one on top of the other, and like a rainbow, take that top arm across the sky as you roll open into a twist. Coming back to your side, you're going to prick that top knee up again, flex the foot and put the foot down flat. Push the top knee away and wedge the bottom knee in to hold that top ankle in place. So wedge the knee in against the ankle, push the top knee away and fidget. So it's a side lying, thread the needle or figure 4 stretch. This would be a variation you would do if you were heavily pregnant. It's good sometimes to take the standard old pose and turn it on its side just to mess with your brain a bit. All right. So you can stay here on your side, or if you want to go to the old familiar lying on your back version, you can go there as well. Figure 4. Whatever version you've opted for, rock and fidget and move around. Keep whatever foot's on top flexed. Help protect the ankle and the knee. And then come to center. So now you get to lie down. And take a block. The block is going to go between your thighs. And you're going to find your weights. I'm going to go back to my 5-pounders. Pillow underneath your head if you like. Feet down flat on the floor, toes are turned in, knees are squeezing that block. So the block is between your thighs, your knees are narrow, you're squeezing that block. So far, so good. Weights. You're just going to push up and bend down. Elbows go wide and push up. And elbows go wide and push up. So it's just a basic chest press, easy peasy, no big deal. If you want to take it to the next level, then add a sit up. So as you sit up, you press up and come back down and put a hole in the ceiling and come back down. Chin is tucked, putting a hole in the ceiling. What I like about this is it encourages you, if you notice, those front ribs stay tucked in. So those front ribs are stapled to the floor when you're doing your sit up, your press up, I should say. Front ribs stapled to the ground. So keep those front ribs stapled to the floor and squeeze the brick. And inhale down. And as you exhale, staple those ribs, squeeze the brick. And inhale, lie down. And exhale, press your breath out. And lie down. Chin is tucked. Exhale like you're clearing your throat. And lie down. So squeeze the brick, keep those front ribs tucked in, clear your throat. Want to throw in that pelvic contraction, your Kegel. You're using all 3 bandhas. The pelvic floor, the front ribs in your throat, the Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana Bandha, and the Jandalahara Bandha. You want to get into yoga terms to do your ab work. So press up. You push the breath out as you squeeze that pelvic floor. As you keep those front ribs stapled to the ground. A couple more of these, just for good measure. Hopefully you've found your abs and you've worked your chest a little bit. And you get to lie down and take a moment. Switch to the lighter weight. The light one, the 3-pounder or the bottle of water, whatever you have. Both legs go up. Both arms go up. One weight, 2 hands. Legs go up. You're going to cross one big toe on top of the other. Weight is pushing up. Front ribs are tucking in. Good. Pelvic floor squeezing in. Inhale. And as you exhale, clear your throat. Find the base or back of your throat. Feel a constriction there. Pelvic floor pulled in. Front ribs are pulled in. The weight goes into your right hand. Locate your left leg. You're going to do opposite diagonal arm and leg. Inhale, prepare. And as you exhale, let that arm and leg fall away from one another, only so far as you can go, and keep those front ribs stapled to the ground and come back up. Switch hands, switch foot. Opposite diagonal, arm and leg move away from each other, only so far as they'll go, but that pelvic floor stays engaged. And you reset. And switch. Opposite diagonal, arm and leg, moving away from one another, only so far as you can go, with your front ribs stapled to the ground. Exhale on the exertion. And inhale, reset. Exhale as arm and leg move away from one another. And inhale, reset. Pelvic floor engaged. Front ribs are tucked in the entire time. The distance between you and the floor never changes. So the shape of your spine does not change on this one. Toes are turned in as you're doing this. Moving slowly, breathing deeply. It does get easier. A little bit more coordination. If you're feeling this in the shoulders at all, definitely drop the weight. But I like the weight because it reminds you to keep those front ribs tucked in. It does make it a little bit more challenging for the shoulders. All right, whatever you're doing here, make it even. And come on in. Take a moment to set that aside. Big, expansive chest breath. Again, big, expansive chest breath. You've just spent the last few minutes tucking those front ribs in, and now you're letting them detach. You're letting them spread open like an umbrella. Big chesty breaths. One more time. Great big chesty breath. All right. Brick goes once again between your thighs. Pillow comes out from underneath your head. Nothing underneath your head. Block between your thighs. Feet stay flat down on the ground. Fingertips can find those front ribs. Inhale, breathe into those front ribs. And then as you exhale, tuck those front ribs in. Clear your throat and squeeze the brick. Activating those abs, keeping those abs active. Peel your hips away from the ground any amount at all. Keep those front ribs squeezing in, thighs squeezing the block. Throat is being cleared with each and every exhalation. Abs are engaged as you hover your hips up off the floor. You might work on shrugging those shoulders underneath you. Resist the temptation to let those ribs poke out. Keep them tucked in. Feet push down hard into the floor as you peel your hips up ever higher for your bridge pose. And breathe. You can continue to work those shoulders narrower, closer together underneath your body. The more bend you have at your neck, the more Jandalahara, throat lock, throat clearing activation you'll have. It means you want to tuck in the front ribs, those Uddiyana bandhas, and continue to squeeze that brick. So the higher you go into this bridge pose, the more you are working on those three locks, those bandhas, the pelvic floor, the front ribs, and your throat. The higher you go, the stronger you engage those bandhas. Doing this correctly, if your thighs are instantly fatigued, and you do want your feet down flat. And then slowly come on down. You can widen those shoulders. Set the brick aside. Let your feet go as wide apart as your mat, and you can reinsert that pillow underneath your head. You're using one today. Feet as wide apart as the mat. Let those knees tick-tock side to side like windshield wipers. Now you're just going to let everything go. Making nice with that lower back. Windshield wiping those legs side to side. Pick a side. Roll over onto your side. It doesn't matter which side you've picked. Grab a hold of that top heel. Bring it to your butt. Top knee swings away from your chest. You pull in your front ribs, pull in that pelvic floor to intensify that quadricep stretch. So you activate your abs as you swing that knee away for a quadricep stretch. And you let that one go and roll on over to the other side. Second verse, same as the first. Same thing, pelvic thrust. Hips forward, waistline back, heel to butt. Swing that top knee away from your nose. And let that one go. Knees bent, feet flat. I'm going to get a little confusing with you. This is my right leg. This is my left arm. Remember doing opposite diagonal arm and leg? Well, opposite diagonal arm, reach underneath. What? So underneath, opposite diagonal arm, grabbing hold of toe. And remember taking that top leg across, putting the foot down flat. Oh yeah, taking it across, putting down flat, and then letting the knee fall over. Just taking into the pretzel twist. Brandy's pretzel twist. One of my favorite things for the lower back. So this top knee that came across, free hand can help bring that knee in tighter, closer to your chest. The tighter and closer you bring it into your chest, the nicer it is for your back. And you might consider rocking around a little bit, using that hand to stir the knee. And breathe. And onward. Second verse, same as the first, going to reset. And remember doing that opposite diagonal arm and leg thing. So if that's your left leg and this is your right hand, you're going to reach underneath, grab a hold of it. And then the other leg comes across. And fidgeting, encouraged. The more higher you bring the top knee in closer to your chest, the nicer it is for your lower back. As always, nice deep breaths. And then reset back to center. Coming to center, cross one leg on top of the other, doesn't matter which. Let your knees fall to one side. Lovely hip stretch. You probably need it. Same cross of the legs, just letting your knees fall to the other side. A different stretch of the other hip. Again, you might need it. Reset. Cross the other leg on top. It doesn't matter which one it is. It's the other leg. Goes on top. Let it fall over to one side. It doesn't matter which side. Just pick a side. Lovely hip stretch. Keep the same cross of the legs. Just let your knees fall the other way. And reset, coming to center. It is time for the big nap, so you can stretch out, full out, flat out, or do any other variation on Shavasana you desire. But you might be pleasantly surprised if you do try to stretch out, full out, flat out, because you did stretch your hamstrings. And you worked your hips and you stretched your butt. And there might be parts of you on the floor that don't usually touch down. Let's take a few moments to feel the circulation in your body, helping to flush out cellular debris, circulating nutrition and fluid, the body parts that haven't gotten it in a while. Helping to clear out cluttered thoughts and stagnant thought patterns with some good fresh blood. Challenging your brain with different muscle movements, movement patterns, clearing out some of those cobwebs.